welcome to another video tutorial for Paramics Discovery 25. This is the 11th in our series as we share with you the different features we've brought into Paramics Discovery in the last year. And this one builds on previous video tutorials where we looked at vehicle awareness, particularly the last two, where we looked at passing and overtaking. This time we're showing vehicle events. And that's really to do with lane changing. The desire that vehicles have to lane change, when that lane change is blocked, when they actually make it, and when they're outside their lane range completely. So we're going to look today at how we can see all that information in the simulation. I have a model in front of me which I'm going to be using to demonstrate this new feature in Paramics Discovery 25. And to do that, first thing I'm going to do is start the simulation running. I'm going to put the speed up to maximum just to get loads of traffic on the network. Now this is a really good model for this demonstration because you can see on the junction there's multiple lanes on the links as well as on different approaches to the junction and the dual carriageway which runs underneath the junction. So this is going to have lots of lane changing in this model. Okay, let me slow that down now that we've got some traffic on the network. Now the vehicle events toggle is found at the top on the toolbar here, and I can hover over that to find a little bit of information about vehicle events. Then I can select it and choose from 4 different options. So the first one I'm going to choose is this green square called Want Lane Change. Now when I select that, it's highlighting all the vehicles on the network which want to change lanes. So they haven't changed lanes yet, but they want to. Okay, so if I zoom out, I can see there's lots of that happening at the junction, which we would expect with multiple lanes at the junction. And also we're going to get lots of that on the dual carriageway as vehicles want to change lanes for different reasons. So I'll go down to the start of the dual carriageway here and just have a look at this in a little bit more detail and pick up what these vehicles are wanting to do. Okay. So here we've got a yellow car. We can see the green square drawn around that, and I'm going to select the car. Now, what I want to do is follow this vehicle as it makes its journey and just see how the decision-making process happens as it travels along the network. So at the moment, we know it wants to change lanes, and we're going to wait and see how it does that. Now, to check this, I'm also going to turn on my vehicle environment awareness, which we've looked at in the last 2 video tutorials. This gives us really useful information about the decisions a vehicle is making. Okay, and I'm going to follow the vehicle by clicking following, and I'm going to slow it right down just to 2 times real time so we can see this in detail. Okay, now, as that vehicle moves, we can see that there are arrows drawn to other vehicles on the network. So we can see, for example, we've got a line drawn to this one. So it's calculating the gap acceptance with that, which is what this symbol means, considering the gap acceptance. If I step it forward, we can see then it's also identified this vehicle here. And at the moment, it's considering that there will be a collision with this vehicle if it tries to move into lane 1. So I expect it not to either pull in, slow down, or to pass the vehicle, and we can see it now passing. Now, once it's got past that vehicle, I expect that collision symbol to disappear, be replaced with the gap acceptance one, and then it moves in to lane 1, which is the desired effect, and you can see that green square now disappears because the lane change has been made. Okay, so that's the green square showing a vehicle wanting to lane change, and then we're using the vehicle awareness to look in more detail about how it actually makes that decision. So I'm going to untick that one and select the van behind it. And I'm going to add in a couple of other events here. So we'll also toggle on this orange circle, which shows that a vehicle has made the lane change, and also this blue diamond, which is when a lane change is blocked. And we will follow the van, the white van here, and see how it goes. Okay, now we can see that the van is looking at the yellow car, of course, because it's very close. It's decided that if it tries to move into lane 1, it could collide, so it's not going to do that. And that means that we get this blue diamond, which is the lane change is blocked. So it's showing us that the white van wants to change lanes, but it can't because there's another vehicle in the way. Okay, and let's see how that changes as the white van moves along the network. Okay, so it's still being calculated as a collision, and it also then saw the other vehicle in front, and so that was a collision. So we're still getting that blue diamond drawn, and once the collision disappears and it moves to a gap acceptance consideration, the blue diamond disappears because the lane change is no longer blocked. The vehicle is going to calculate its gap, and then it's moving in because it's got the space to do so safely. And then we also get this orange circle drawn, and that orange circle means it's made the lane change. And as it's going through that process, we see the green square and the orange circle get smaller and smaller and eventually disappear. And now we've got no symbol over the white van. So in that process of passing a couple of vehicles, we're able to see those 3 vehicle events happening. Okay, so we'll stop following the white van. If I zoom out with all of those different events toggled on, what you should be seeing is all of them appearing and disappearing on different vehicles. And I can speed the simulation up a little bit to see it. As vehicles move through the network and change lanes, we're able to identify which ones want to change lanes, which ones are blocked, which ones have made the lane change. So we're just getting this information about how the vehicles are behaving. We're able to see different parts of the network where lane changing is happening or not happening, and to just delve a bit deeper into understanding the vehicle behavior on our network. Okay, so there's one other option within our vehicle event indicators, and that's outside lane range. And this is going to indicate when a vehicle is outside the lane range that it desires to be in. Okay, so I'm going to take the other ones off for this just so we can see it clearly, and start the simulation again, and we'll have a look for, in this case, it's this pink circle popping up. And we tend to see the pink circle, I think, popping up when vehicles are approaching junctions, like so, and in this case, leaving the junction. So less at the junction and more on the approaches. And what's happening here is that as vehicles respond to hazards to get into their lane as they approach the junction, they may be getting blocked from making that decision by other vehicles, and so they get outside their lane range. And then they keep looking, of course, to try and get back into their lane range and move into lane. But this is a way of indicating when vehicles can find themselves outside their lane range. And I'm seeing this quite a bit happening just in this area as the vehicles are approaching the junction here. So let's have a little look. If I can select one. Okay, so let's select this black vehicle. I'm going to bring up the information about the vehicle, which I can do by toggling this on, and have a look. So it's telling me the speed, the origin destination, the lane that it's in is 2, and the lane range is 1 to 1. Okay, so the lane range is 1 to 1 because it knows it's taking this left turn here, but it's in lane 2. So this might be an indication as a modeler that you might need to think about the lane configuration here. You might want to think about your hazard or signposting distance and just assess, is it appropriate for vehicles to be in lane 2 at this point, or would you expect them to be in lane 1? So it can be quite a useful tool. Okay, now we can turn the other things back on as well to see if they're at play. And if I just set this forward by 1 time step, I can see that there is a desire to make the lane change, of course, because it wants to get into lane 1, it's in lane 2. It is blocked, and it's because of the vehicle in front that it's concerned about the collision, and therefore it hasn't made the lane change yet. But if I slow this down and follow this vehicle, I can see it's just able to make that lane change, and it was blocked for quite a while, but of course it does make it in because it needs to get into lane 1, and in the end it's quite a tight call. He has to wait till the very end to go in, but he does make it, and we can see he's moving on, and all those symbols then disappear once he's onto that next link and made the lane change. So thank you for joining us again today for another video tutorial all about vehicle events. And in contrast to the vehicle awareness, the vehicle events is really a way of seeing all the different events across the network on multiple vehicles at the same time, and really getting a sense of what's happening in different parts of your network. So I hope you found that useful today. We'll be back in the next week or two with another video tutorial, and we'll see you then.